Hey you guys, the battle is real and I wanted to present something a little bit for you here today. How many of this ever happened to you where you're like, you have a cup of coffee and you're like, oh crap, the coffee just got knocked over. Now you got coffee, you got creamer, you got sugar, you got all kinds of stuff in your carpeting. What are you to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call myself in an alternate universe. Because in an alternate universe, one of me has got to be a carpet cleaner. So that's what I'm going to do. Hey, good day YouTube. It's Jeffrey Howells Carpet Cleaning here. And the weirdest thing just happened and you'll never believe it. I just got a call from myself from an alternate universe saying something about kicking over a cup of coffee on some green rug, which is really weird because I do have a green rug in my garage ready to be cleaned that has a coffee spill on it. So I don't know how this happened, but we're going to go ahead and go inside here and take a look at it. Alright, check this out. What we have here is a spilled coffee containing sugar, creamer, and it looks like we also have some whipped cream in there as well that got spilled. So when you're dealing with a compound stain like this, typically you don't always get to a fresh cup of coffee when it spills. But you would dab this up as much as you possibly can by spreading out some terry cloth towels on it. And that's usually the first step. Alright, so first things first, what we did is we laid out some terry cloth towels on the spilled coffee just to absorb as much of the liquid as we possibly can before treating. Now keep in mind this is going to be a compound stain or spot. I like how Courtney put it. The difference between a spot and a stain is that spots add to and stains take away. So what you're dealing with color loss caused by bleach, that's a stain, and the only way that you're going to get it corrected is to actually add more color back to the stain to get the coloring situation back under control. However, when you're dealing with a spot like spilled coffee, you're actually adding something to the carpeting, and so in terms of carpet cleaning, we're dealing with spots most of the time, and we're just taking that extra out of the carpeting to bring things back to its original condition. So what we're doing here, again, like I said, you just put on some terry cloth towels and absorb as much of the liquid out of there as possible. And in fact, if you are if you're the victim of this and you're wanting to know what to do because you just spilled some coffee, just absorb as much of it up out of the carpeting as possible. The spot that the coffee actually causes by the coloring of the bean, don't worry about that. A professional carpet cleaner will take care of it. It's absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's just a matter of having the right tools and the right cleaners to deal with the situation. Now that we've absorbed a bunch of this coffee stain in these terry cloth towels, one thing I'd like to point out is that there are a variety of ways of dealing with coffee stains. A browning treatment is identical to a coffee stain removal. Really, what you want to do in a situation where the coffee is dry, that's when you'd either treat it with a browning treatment. You spray it down there pretty good. Either spray it and leave it. It kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're going to be cleaning the carpets, I would put it down maybe 15-30 minutes before you actually clean the carpets. Let it dwell in the carpets, and then it will all rinse out with the steam cleaning process. If you are basically the same thing with the coffee stain removal by Master Blend. I love this product. It's a granule form of basically the browning treatment because it smells just like the browning treatment, except the granule is even more of a sulfur smell. So if you're going to be dealing with it, make sure it's in a well ventilated area and that if you're having to be exposed to it, you know, wearing a respirator is probably a good idea, because it will make you cough and all kinds of stuff. So this is a great product. Just mix it with warm water in a spray bottle and spray it on there. In fact, I just did some coffee stain removal this morning where I didn't do an extraction because it was mainly on the surface. And this stuff almost acts, you can think of it as like an enzyme that's eating away at the coffee, because molecularly it's sort of doing the same thing. So you can treat a coffee area where coffee's been spilled and it's dry with either the browning treatment or the coffee stain remover, and put it on there, kind of agitate it and rub it around so it gets, you know, well into the carpet, because let it get down deep, you know, begin eating away at that carpet and removing the discoloration caused by the bean itself. It's called a tannin stain, and tannin is just the sort of discoloration caused by a bean. I believe that tea, coffee, and mustard are the only specific tannin stains that I am aware of. Curry may also be a tannin stain. I'm not positive what group curry falls under. But anyway, so we're going to treat it. But in this case, instead of treating it with a browning treatment or the coffee stain remover at this point, I take that back. Let me back up a couple steps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to treat it with the browning treatment. But because we're in a situation where this is wet and just freshly kicked over by myself from an alternate universe, I'm going to go ahead and elect to use the steam cleaning on it, just to get as much of it out of there as possible first. Then we'll use some browning treatment and stuff, and that will begin to eat away and take care of it. And then we will post-treat it and allow it to dwell for a few hours, just using the coffee stain remover. And it should come out absolutely perfect by the time we're done here. Alright, so a very generous portion of browning treatment by ChemSpec has been applied to the carpeting here, and we agitated it in using our special Home Depot brush. So that's in there very good. What we're going to do now is we're just begin setting up our equipment and getting stuff ready, as this is sitting and dwelling in the carpets. Alright, so the water truck is about 200 degrees, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to go through and thoroughly extract this area where the coffee spill had occurred. Just do a big area around here. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to make up some of that coffee stain remover by ChemSpec. Or we could use a browning treatment. I'm just, for the sake of it, I'm just going to use coffee stain remover by ChemSpec. I'm going to pre-treat the area just by misting it on and using the brush to agitate it in there and just allow it to dwell in there. And within a few hours after it's all completely dry, the stain will be the carpet will be as if the coffee had never even been spilt on here. So one of the benefits of having a clear upholstery tool that you can see through it is that you can actually see the coffee being sucked up. So when that discoloration goes back to a clear white color of water, then we know that it's been thoroughly extracted from the carpeting. Now, being that I was using a clear tool and I rinsed it good enough to know that all of the coffee had been removed from there. There was absolutely no coloration coming through. And we did pre-treat with a browning treatment. I am confident that we were able to get all of the coffee out of there. However, we're going to go one step further by taking our coffee stain remover that we made up, and we're going to go ahead and pre-treat this area and go ahead and agitate it lightly with a brush here. Alright, and that is the coffee removal process. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And for any of you carpet cleaners who are watching this video, this is a synthetic blend carpeting. So it would have been safe to have treated with a peroxide-based cleaning solution as well. I probably, because it was wet, I would recommend doing the terry cloth towels or extracting it with your equipment, whether it be portable or truck mounted. It really doesn't matter. You just want to get that liquid up out of there. And then you could, like I said, you could treat it with your peroxide-based solution and just leave it, and that would clean it up just as well, just as we are leaving it with the browning treatment coffee stain remover in the carpeting there. So that'll take care of it. It will not wick back up because we went surface deep on this. Surface deep. We went all the way back to the padding. We didn't just treat the surface. A lot of carpet cleaners, some carpet cleaners, and some that I have experienced myself, with magically reappearing spots popping up out of nowhere. Like I clean a master bedroom, and the next day I'll get a phone call saying that a coffee spot appeared. And what happened in that situation is that a cheap carpet cleaner went through and he cleaned the top of the carpet, but he didn't actually treat the coffee that was in the backing and in the bottom. So when I went through and did my steam cleaning process, even though there was no coffee stain when I was done, as the carpets dried, it caused a wicking effect that drew that coffee back up to the surface, and then there were coffee stains that magically appeared from the previous tenant or owner. So in that situation, you guys just want to be very careful and make sure that you carefully go through and make sure that you identify and remove all the coffee that's in the carpeting and not just what you actually see, because surface cleaning causes problems later on. And in closing, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to my own reality, my own alternate universe, and get back to work, you guys. God bless and have an awesome day.